It was a cosmetic company hiring a secondary board of Gen Zers and millennials to give advice to this current board of directors. The article is about how Body Shop asked the Gen Zers to join their board and give like more advice about how to navigate current situations. So kind of start from there. A little backstory: Body Shop is a British cosmetic skincare company. It was founded in 1976, and in the article, they kind of talked about how the workforce now is about 38% Gen Z and millennials, about 40% of the world population is under 25, and how the realization of a lack of vision and voice of the younger generation. So they created a secondary board to help combat this. As of right now, do you want me to keep going, or do you want to have your thoughts as of this?
Let me try to summarize it to make sure I understand. The
Correct.
Body Shop, a cosmetic company,
Correct.
is out of touch with their millennial and Gen Z audience. So they
Correct.
brought in a secondary board to try to hear what they could fix.
Correct.
Keep
Okay,
going.
we're good. Okay, we're good. We're good. Okay. So the purpose of the secondary board, the brand calls it the Youth Collective, was a leadership team that no one over 30 is allowed to join.
Wait, can I join this? Is it open to the public?
No, it's maybe I haven't really looked how to apply for this.
Keep going.
But so the Body Shop recruited under 30-year-olds for an external B Corp firm. The parameters was to crack the code of sent youth. At first it was a disaster because it just brought everyone in under 30, and it was becoming a major bitch fest pretty much on saying how this is stupid and business sucks and it's ruining the environment. So it's pretty much just a bitch fest of, again, very, very big business is bad.
Okay.
So they took a step back and they took in board members who were more business oriented in that generation, who wanted to create businesses, but also understood that they have to do it in better, kind of efficient, in the philosophies of a B corporation way. And to backtrack, a B corporation is pretty much a stamp of approval, that kind of shows and demonstrates that the highest verified standards for social and environmental performance and transparencies. So yes, and that became the topic of our generational walls starting to break down, and kind of putting ego aside and having the humility of saying, I am not part of this generation anymore and I need help.
So while you were going through that, I looked up the Youth Collective
Mm-hmm.
and just reading the headline, introducing our Youth Collective. We're bringing young people into our boardroom. The world is in crisis, and we think young people are part of the solution. And then it talks about all the statistics that you were talking about earlier. They definitely illustrate a reasons for everyone to work together because the world's in crisis, Jo.
It's fucking crazy, bro. And okay, I know we're joking about crisis, but if you really think about it, it's such a bad disconnect, man, from every single generation. Again, our generation says we're lazy, and maybe I kind of probably was guilty of saying this new generation we're a bunch of fucks. And it's kind of stemming in this article and in my job. I saw it just kind of, okay, this is not, it's starting to become a little bit in the middle of me and now the younger generation, and what the old is, and stop kind of yappering, but yet being more proactive on how to fix it. It was a crazy thought. And when I saw this, I was like, wow, this is kind of dope.
I think it's a great initiative. It's hard to work. People gravitate towards the familiar.
Mm-hmm.
Age is one spectrum where it creates some difference in perspective each time, which is why I think people gravitate towards kind of their group-ish of age range. And then within each group, right, there's all the different dynamics. You got politics, you have Republicans and Democrats and liberals and conservatives and people about the environment or people that care about money, or right. It just goes in so many different ways. All of those things make it hard to then try to cross through all of them to get them all aligned and to discuss different things. Also, I think because it's an older company, resisting to try to relate to the upcoming market will make that company irrelevant. And so the walled garden has to go down almost for their own survival more so than wanting to maybe genuinely connect to that demographic.
Yeah. And I also thought of it this way, was at a certain point they are on their way out, and are we going to hoard these leadership kind of positions that that the generation needs to figure it out again? If you can get people inside that board, maybe that's not the intention of what they did this for, but just what I thought about is that instead of saying figure it out when I leave, here we'll mentor you so you kind of know what's going on, versus hoarding that position and saying you won't be getting until I leave. And then if you take it the reverse, you know that it's going to transition pretty well as a company standpoint, because we have people who know the ins and outs of said company now, versus I can walk away with peace instead of who's going to take over.
Have you ever seen the movie with Anne Hathaway and Robert De Niro, The Intern?
Yeah. Love that movie, dude. That's my favorite movie.
It's a great movie.
Oh.
I think the piece that you were talking about with the body shop is that concept in reverse. So rather than a young CEO gaining perspective from someone that's in an older generation, we see a lot in society. It's the older generation that has moved up the ranks, needing the insight from the younger generation and trying to bridge that gap from experiences, perspectives, things like that.
Oh, I think it's interesting. Have you had that yet? Have you had, since you are kind of now, when you had a job, because now, unemployed, RIP. But when you had to manage a team and the younger generation come fresh out of college, like about be 10 years older, younger than you, and did you see that? What did you see between that gap?
The best example was probably my time during Clubhouse. So I was, let's say, in the 30-year-old area. Some of the executives were closer to the 40-year-old area. We had team members that were recent grads, so they were like 20 years old. And even within that 20-year gap, there was a ton of different perspectives around what Clubhouse as a service, what value it could bring to each of those different areas and what they're looking for. And in trying to, being someone on the older end of the spectrum, trying to build something and know what someone on the younger end of the spectrum wants, you can only really find out if you truly connect and try to understand what that demographic really cares about. And sometimes that means that you're going to have to suspend your own thoughts, perspectives, and opinions, because that might not be what they truly want. And then from another company perspective, it depends on just who your target customer is and user is. If you're totally okay with it being 30 plus individuals, then you can cater to that area and kind of abandon the rest. It reminds me a little bit of when we saw other apps like Be Real came out, or think about when Snapchat first came out. They were targeting individuals at the high school and college area. And so those opinions are going to matter so much more. But then those companies are also founded by individuals in that age range too. So they understood the dynamics. You didn't need this third party opinion to come in to help refine the lens of what you were building for. I know I ranted a little bit on that.
No, you're good. I love it. No, because I have my personal reflection on this was, as I'm getting older, turning 31, and I'm bringing people who are just 18 out of high school and having that. It was easier to manage when I was younger because I felt like I could easily play Big Brother, like only a couple years away that could be super relatable. Now I'm a decade away pretty much. Yeah, 21, 31, about 12, 13 years with fresh 18-year-olds coming in. Like going to college and experiencing it now, they instead of viewing my age as like I can play Big Brother who can like try to mentor them through this, what is now my identity of when they come in? Am I a authoritative figure? It was very different on how can I use now my personal experiences to easily motivate these kids or to be relatable to these kids. It was so much easier back then than it is starting now, and I feel like I have to work harder, and it feels a lot more energy draining and not in a bad way, but in a tiring way of crap. I have to break down more walls. There, when what I'm realizing is some of these kids are just super introverted more than usual. How do I bring them out their shell? And man, I'm introverted too, dude. So it's just like spending a lot of energy to do it, and it was just a weird thing. It's not wrong. It's nothing wrong about it, but how you going to have that EQ of motivating someone on that standpoint or understanding their hurt, their happiness, their joy, and just body language of making sure if everything's okay, if they're stressed, reflects so much differently in how. And then if I say it now, is it going to be, oh, dad's saying it, fuck off, versus, oh, hey, big brother said it, I gotta listen. And it was weird to think about that. And I'm still now figuring that out because I can't play big brother because I can't be super relatable anymore because there is a gap that I have not that I don't know about. I've experienced or could be relatable on some sort of level. So yeah, it was that's my rant. So you're all good.
With some of the teams that I had younger team members on, I just leaned into it. I'm the boomer on the team. You teach me what's cool, what's not cool. I'll let you know what was cool back in my day. If there's things that I can provide advice and be big brother, sure. Like I'm happy and more than, I'm available for anything that they want. But I just kind of lean into it. If they slacked me something that I didn't understand, I'll be like, hey, old guy here, can you translate that word that you just used? Thank you.
Oh yeah, my boss does it super well, dude. I want to say 50s. I mean, kill me if I say it wrong, but he might be in his 50s. I haven't checked. I'm scared to check. But
Wow.
yeah,
If he hears this and he's in his 40s, he's going to
he's
come
not in his
talk to
40s.
you.
He's definitely not in his 40s. And he's just so good at leaning into. I'm an old guy, dude. I don't know what the hell is going on. He's hella funny when it comes to that stuff, and he plays it very well. So he's been doing it for years, and he still acts like a kid sometimes. It's really dope. So it's a new identity piece that I'm trying to figure out in the career path. But that's why this article kind of resonated with me.